Hello and welcome, colleagues. Thank you very much for coming back. So we're going through the fourth of our sections now, looking at how we can instill and change some of the culture in our training. Now, one of the ideas that we had, and it's been very, very popular, and you have to understand that when I was a head teacher, I was doing all this using loads of different software, loads of different ideas, and it was fine to apply in one school. But one of the problems that you're always trying to build with any kind of system or any kind of way in which you want to do things on a more grander scale is looking at how you can scale anything. And so what we try to do with this is to try and scale, and obviously because there were so many iterations and learning and obviously feedback we were taking from users who are using our items, that's what really helped us kind of grow and develop what we're doing. And so in this fourth section now, we're going to be looking very much at the community aspect. Now, community aspects within what people do within teacher training and forums and the rest, and Facebook groups and discuss and the rest of it, it has a place. The way we've built the system is it doesn't have a kind of very free running space, because we like things to be more focused and we like things to be more pinpointed, like really trying to get to the nail of the situation. So there's a couple of ways that you can look at different items. Now, the first of those ways is on any video. For example, I'm just going to go to a video. Let's say we are in this, I'm doing preparing for middle leadership, and I'm in what is a middle leader. If I have a comment generic that I actually want to share, you'll see that it's a comment that I can just go and add at the bottom. So if I want to add a comment, it is, I think, and obviously that's kind of under every single video, so you can see what other people have posted, and it's quite well, it has a place. It's not the most user features, but I just want you to know it's there, especially if culturally you think that's going to be important too. Every single video has a place for comments, so you can always store what people think or like or dislike about a video, and that's fine. But it's not super effective in helping each other learn. That's what we found. Where we do find it really important is when people come to a spot on a video and they take part in what we call swarming, but they're not taking part of it naturally. They're taking part of it they're taking part of it naturally. We're not trying to force them after what they're doing to kind of do or add something. Now, the way this comes in is actually inbuilt into the system, and it's actually harder to avoid than it is to do. So if I switch to assessment mode, which I was speaking about earlier, is the way that we kind of put in our interactive points in the question, what you see is if I press play, and then I come to that point in the video, I would write my answer in. So test, I think, and that would go to my workbook, as you've seen in one of the previous videos. But a much better and more supportive way, and this is actually one of the big breakthroughs we've had with the way that we get people to interact more and more, is I can see anyone else's answer. So what we find generally is that someone puts in one answer and then the other answers follow very quickly, because people are learning from each other. Now, what I want you to think about here, colleagues, is this is not a place to copy each other, especially since most of the courses aren't the critical qualifications anyway. And you've given, and it's actually supported by some of the head teachers who comment in the example video of how people use our system, and you can listen to the head teacher on there. Really terrific insights. But ultimately what it is, it's exactly the same as us being in a hall, and we tell everyone to speak with each other, and they'll be like, I think this, I think this, I think things, and then you know how it happens at the end. So who'd like to share? And then we take one example from that group. There might be 50 people in the room. We take one example from there, 3 examples from there, and we're done. So we don't really get to share the full, run the gamut of ideas, or really hear from people who may not want to put their hands up and say anything, which is completely their right. But here we actually get to see every single person whose place, so every single person who's on the course, they have to put an answer in, because it forms part of the answer of their course or their workbook. So they have to put something in, and then therefore they support each other. And what we see a lot when we're actually tracking what users do is the first 1 or 2 answers are kind of the base, and then everyone starts to add more and more after that. So it's a really nice way of actually tracking and watching learners. These are all test learners, and we've just copied bits and pieces of text in, but when you see it working live, it's really nice and smoothly working, because you've got that great swarming over a problem or an idea. So I'm thinking about this, and then we're swarming over it together, really getting lots of people's opinions on different items. And obviously this can be switched off if you so wish, but we haven't got any school customers at the moment who have chosen, they've switched them off at the beginning, but then they realize the benefit of the swarming around. It takes so much pressure off that it can really help and do that. So I hope that gives you an idea of 2 different ways of using the forums, and also being in this instance where you can actually kind of swarm around a kind of topic or an idea or a problem, and everyone can contribute. And again, the most important thing about this, colleagues, is just think of the time and the money you are saving, rather than getting 100 people in a room. Well, it's much easier, isn't it, to just record a video, as we demonstrated earlier, put that up with an interactive question where people can jump on and share their examples, and then everyone has access to all the information. So obviously, hopefully there's a bit more of a democratic angle to it as well. I hope that was useful. I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial video for Guide Connect.